Welcome back to Cherry Bomb. Today we are talking about social distancing during these COVID times and what we're comfortable with. I'm Nikki Castor.
I'm Tatum Durock.
I'm Gloria Bigelow.
I'm Dalila Ali Raja. Cheers.
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 All right. Awesome. So let's play a little game. I'm going to ask a few questions and let's see what we are comfortable with.
Nothing.
Okay. How about going to get a haircut at a salon? How comfortable?
Like tomorrow? Fuck no.
Okay. So
I'm gonna be a nah on that. I cut my own hair at 2:30 in the morning to avoid going to the salon, so I'm pretty much sure I'm not ready for that yet.
okay.
You cut your own hair?
I cut my own hair at 2:30 in the morning. I ordered clippers and had clippers come to the house, and I cut my own hair. So yeah, I'm not going to a salon.
Like clippers. You didn't do like scissors. Like you just went like buzz.
I did scissors first, and then I did clippers like I was made my own beauty salon.
Is that why you're in a hat this week?
That is exactly what's happening. I didn't say it was a good idea. I just said it's what I did.
What about you, Tatum?
I feel like I would be okay if everyone was, suited and booted. I feel like if there's a double mask thing going on and, there's that awareness. And honestly, like, I don't know how much longer I can. I mean, obviously, I can go longer. I can. I'm really not that superficial. I'm so grateful. I think I'm so lucky that I have curls, though, because curls hide a multitude of sins. I mean, the layers of different colors going on underneath it, and you just like squish up all the curls and like no one can see the lines. But if my hair was straight, oh yeah, that would be really hard. So,
oh my gosh, that's so funny. I think it looks great.
Nikki, would you go?
I am actually made an appointment for this Wednesday. I'm going to go back to platinum. And I am getting this little bit of hair actually shaped.
Okay.
So I'm going for it.
So you did a beauty salon at your house too. That's why you got on a hat.
I've shaved my head actually before COVID actually existed. I went for it. So and it just so happened to become a thing during quarantine. But yeah, so I'm going this Wednesday to go platinum and to actually shape my head with a haircut.
You find yourself stroking it forwards and back all the time.
Yes, I do.
That was my favorite thing about like, not having any hair or just having that little bit.
Yes.
There's nothing better than that like back of the head stroke.
And I loved having my head touched and rubbed. So yeah.
Now I would probably have someone, I could maybe see having someone come to my house to cut my hair if I knew them personally and I knew the kind of like if they were at least 75% as neurotic as I am about things, and I could probably let them in as long they can't use the bathroom, but I could let them in and put down a path for them to walk on and maybe gloves, my clippers. I could maybe like set something up for myself.
I mean, it would be better to do it outside because the reality is like the fresh air is actually better. Like if that was going to go down, masks and sitting outside. Like the only thing I've considered, usually I do my own curls like these, but I've been wanting braids again, like twists again for a while. And I was like, I can't go to my beautiful African sister's apartment and sit up in there. I don't know who else she's been talking to, and she travels internationally a lot. Her husband lives in Paris. I was like, I can't.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I could have somebody come in the backyard. I think you're right, Dee. They can come in the side. Yeah.
And then everybody's in masks, and then you just don't be breathing on me. Just, you behind me at least, because then the trajectory of any air particles would not be like in my face.
I'd probably be doing double masks like I did double condoms in college. I think it was one of those situations.
Okay.
Can you do a double?
It's so funny. Let's keep going. I want to hear more of these.
Wait, Tatum, what were you asking? Can you do what?
Can you do a double condom? Like, I didn't know that was even possible.
Yeah, it is. I don't think it's comfortable. I don't have a penis, but it doesn't sound comfortable. But it's possible.
It ain't about their comfort. Go ahead. What's next?
Okay. How comfortable are you traveling by airplane?
I'm not comfortable. However, my kid is going to college in the fall, and I don't feel like I'm going to feel comfortable by the time I go. But I also think there's more COVID vectors if I try to drive across country, stopping at multiple places, than there would be for me to like do the Naomi Campbell treatment of the seats and the everything and myself and get on a plane with a mask. May have to save up to put both our asses in first class or some shit though, so that there's nobody beside me. But yeah.
Okay, so that's fair. So actually, if I could just add on with that, would you be comfortable flying now, in 3 months, or a year?
I may be comfortable in a year. I'm gonna have to fly before I'm comfortable though, because there's stuff I have to do that requires me to fly. But I don't think I'm gonna be comfortable.
Right. But you.
What about y'all?
What about you?
One of the epidemiologists called a plane a tube of germs.
And it always has been.
And it was even before COVID.
Yeah. So it's a movie theater. It always has been. It always has been.
We just didn't really think about it.
I thought about it. I had the deal. And I drank a lot of liquor, and they're cutting the liquor off in the planes too, that's another problem.
You can bring your own little bottles.
No, I would have to sneak them though, because it's illegal to bring your own liquor on. And so this is just hypothetical.
Mm-hmm.
You would have to sneak your own liquor on, and then they're not serving it on the plane. I'm not sure of all the reasons, because it don't really make sense to me, other than that people maybe become more lax in their protocols if they're drinking.
What if it's medicinal?
I don't know how you'd prove that. You can get water on if you say that you need water. When you go to the airport, if you let them know you need water for medication. So I could fill it up with tequila.
That'd work.
That's one option.
That's concerning.
Hypothetically, because it's illegal.
What about you, Glo? When were you comfortable traveling in an airplane?
You know, this really, I've given a lot of thought to this because it kind of stresses me out. I've been wanting to, when I was going to be on hiatus from work, I was really looking forward to going to Georgia and spending some time with my mom and my niece, rather. I'm bringing my niece back to LA to be with me, hang out for the summer. So I'm really concerned about the idea that I wouldn't be able to see Linda until, 21. I mean, I saw her, she came here for our women's weekend, but I don't know. I don't feel like I'd be comfortable flying. I think I got at least a year. I'm a nervous flyer as it is. I already got problems flying.
Okay.
I'm not good at that.
Okay.
So then to add the extra layer of people, because I'm not really interacting with a lot of people. So going for the people in the airport and the people on the plane, I think I'm gonna at least be a year.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I don't want my mom flying.
I need a friend with a private jet is what I actually need.
That'd be nice.
Seems like we might need to make some new friends.
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, there are those little private planes that are affordable for short distances. I don't know where they fly to long in the US.
Yeah.
I've never heard of an affordable private plane.
They actually have them in Europe. I've seen them when we were in Europe the last time. We were in Germany, and there was for 99 euros, you could get a private jet that took you to it was I think from Germany to France for 99 euros each person on this private jet. It was super. I was like, this might need to be a plan.
Yeah.
There's a few companies that are starting to do it.
Nick, would you fly?
You know what? It's interesting. I really am craving to go to, I'm not excited to fly. I'm not excited about the process of going to the airport and getting on the airplane. And I actually love flying. But the other aspect of that is, so you're going to fly somewhere, but there's a 2-week quarantine when we get anywhere. So then that seems odd, right? So then it's kind of where are you going to travel? So for that reason alone, I wouldn't travel right now because wouldn't want to quarantine for 2 weeks somewhere.
And then quarantine on your way back as well. So quarantine when you
get like a month of time on either side of your trip.
Yeah, that's wild. What about overnight? How comfortable are you traveling close overnight?
Like a hotel?
Yeah.
Or
yes.
Or...
Yes.
So I did that. We went and stayed in Palm Springs with another couple who had been quarantined and in their friend's house. And so they were there at the beginning of the week, and then we went for the weekend. And I still was like, you know, classic Gloria, Lysol, giving myself headaches and all of that stuff. And
I was surprised you went. I was like, okay.
I was surprised I went too. But I knew that the other people, I knew their level of like COVID responsibility was very high as well. And I knew that I would be able to clean all my surfaces, and we brought food from home and all of that stuff. And it was so lovely to get away, particularly Palm Springs. You know, I'm obsessed with the mountains and the blue sky.
Palm Springs.
It felt, after having been so strict about it, that felt great to just be there with them. And, you know, it took me a second to relax on like, you know, not backing away from them and, you know, all of it, you know, I was a mess for probably at least the first 6 hours. It took me to just like
decompress.
But I did overnight, and really glad that we did.
Cool.
I've thought about it. I'm not ready yet. But I was talking to my wife about maybe doing like a staycation at like a beach place where we could clean it down and still bring food, just so that we're like right there on the water and we can walk out and actually enjoy that and feel like something that feels a little different. What I really want to do is go to Catalina, but I'm still nervous about that because I don't like, I know. But that's what I really want. But I don't want to be eating at restaurants and doing all that stuff, which is what I would have to do there, because I wouldn't be like trying to cook a whole bunch of stuff. Mm-hmm. So it kind of takes away part of the magic of what I enjoy about Catalina.
Mm-hmm. You've all made me homesick for California, I have to say. Palm Springs and Catalina, oh, the ocean. Yeah. We have some seas, but it's not quite the same as the ocean. Although, I mean, England is incredibly pretty, but I don't know. I think for me, it's the infrastructure, right? So it's getting somewhere, and then are you going to cook the whole time? Like, that doesn't sound super relaxing. If you go out for day trips, there aren't public bathrooms open here. I don't know how it is there, but you can't.
It's trash. They're making it's trash. The shit's open and it shouldn't be. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, like. So like all of that kind of makes it not seem as fun. And then like for a brief second, I thought, oh, camping. And then I was like, oh, shared toilets and showers? No.
I bring my own.
Your own toilet and shower?
Yeah, I don't have the shower. Our friends have the shower, but I bring my own toilet.
Yeah.
Well, it might not be a bad idea. Did you see
There's a portable toilet?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
It's like a bucket that has a toilet seat on the top, and then you put a bag and cat litter in it. So I call it my litter box. And then you just go, and then you take the bag out, and then you have another bag with litter in it, and you're just like a little cat.
Little minx
This
camp.
is why I only glamp.
Probably a really good thing. Did you see about the study about the spray from toilets that don't have the seat?
Oh, the plume, the toilet plume. Oh, honey, I've known about that for years. It's like I'm like, close the toilet seat. I trained Phoenix from the time he was little. It's like, no. We don't flush this toilet without the seat down.
Yeah, exactly. Good call. Yeah, no way.
Go into public bathrooms though, those seats aren't all down. And
I know, I hold my breath.
Yeah, I hover.
And you've got
going
on line. And there's a lot of plume. And now they're saying that there could be COVID in the plume.
But
they're saying that it's hard for you to catch it from the plume, is at least what they're saying now. They're saying that it's viable, like it's there, but like every place that they're detecting it, you can't catch it from all those places because the virus also degrades. So it's like it's also in semen, but they're not saying that you can catch it by having sex. You know what I mean? Like they've tested it in semen, but they don't know if it's viable in the semen.
So glad I gave that up.
I would say this. I would stay at a hotel at the beach in San Diego. And I want to ask you guys one more question then, because we talked about dining naturally. would you go and dine in at a restaurant?
Hell no.
Yeah.
No.
So here's the thing. I'm not ready to be, and I love dressing up and like going out to dinner. Like it's one of my favorite things to do. And I am just not there yet. I want to be, I'm just not there yet. And my girlfriend went to celebrate someone's birthday and they dined out.
Yep.
And I was like, wait, I was like, whoa. We have to have a conversation.
Did you quarantine her for after she got dinner?
We have to have a conversation about this. Like, what are you doing? And she's like, Flo, it's outside. You know, the tables are, I was like, do you have proof? Like, I need like pictures. Like, she's like, the tables are all 6 feet apart. We're going to be sitting outside. The other 2 people that I'm with, it's her birthday. One of them already had COVID and has been out of it for 2 months, you know, like, so it's going to be, and when I was like, and when you come home, like take off everything, don't touch nothing, you go straight into, I was like a crazy lady. But it was good to hear like that the menus were paper, they took them, they threw them away immediately, no placemats, all of that stuff, they scooped all that stuff up. So it looked like the place was taking, you know, the measures that the governor said, but I was like, I'm not ready. I'm not ready for you to do it either, but you know, you can't tell people what to do. So yeah.
But you just made her change her clothes. You didn't make her quarantine for 2 weeks.
No, I did not. But when she came home, I was looking at her sideways. I was absolutely like sitting on the other end of the couch, like, oh, I have a problem.
I just like, they're saying like on the news, they were saying that they went out to do inspections and more than 50% of the restaurants here were not complying with COVID rules. Which makes me nervous. You've seen the restaurants with the B, now everything's heightened and you ain't paying people that much extra money to do stuff and you have less revenue coming in. How are you doing all of that to the level it needs to be done? And I know that they say pretty much like it dies in the heat. So like if it's hot food, you're likely not going to catch it from the food. But my concern is like the stuff that the food is on or in, like the utensils, the plates, like even ordering out. For my kid for graduation, I took a big leap for me as a very COVID, not responsible COVID, sometimes paranoid person, and let him have some Panda Express. He really wanted Panda Express, and we have not eaten anywhere outside of this house or ordered anything in since March. Actually, maybe February. And he was happy. I didn't want any. I wiped down all them bags. I wiped down the containers. But it still felt like I was like, shit. I was like, this could be on any of the stuff that we're carrying into the house was my concern.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So that's a no.
Potato?
Yeah, I mean, I would prefer to sit outside. I think what's quite interesting is that I feel like I'm aware, but I'm not scared. I don't, like, it doesn't scare me. So, and I don't know what you know, if that's a good thing or a bad thing. That's it's not and I do wonder whether I've been topped out on like how much fear I can, around my potential demise. Like after having cancer, like I'm kind of like, I don't know, the odds on this aren't too bad. I'll take it. Totally. Every year, like I just don't have the space for it in quite the same way.
Yeah. I was wondering that with having you gone through that experience, that other experience, it's just like you kind of move through some of the fear. Like for me, I think I get worried about hurting the other people around me too, not just me getting it. I think it's more of that, because I remember when I think I shared with you guys, they found some masses in my breast that turned out not to be cancer, but I did have to have surgery. But the whole process to find out took a long time, and I was kind of going nuts and in a lot of fear during all of it, and it made me have to take a look at my mortality in a different way and what things are important to me. But I think because this also involves the possibility of getting other people sick, it takes me to a different level of something.
What about Nikki?
Yeah, I just ate inside a restaurant with my dad actually for Father's Day but the thing is, similarly, like I've been through enough. My parents are on regularly like life has always been a thing. And so I'm always like, you know what? This is what we want to do. We're going to enjoy it. And that's it. And we did. Didn't plan on it, but that's what he wanted to do. So I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And, so yeah.
Did you hear about the advice that was being given out to single people that wanted to have sex to use a strategically placed wall?
What is it? What is it?
I only heard to get a COVID buddy. What is the strategically placed wall?
Was like basically glory hole.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, what they were recommending, a strategically placed wall. I can't think of anything else. But then that did make me think, we were talking about condoms, like, could there be a COVID sex sheath that would allow you to get into the right parts, but not
like a hazmat suit where the juicy bits got to hang out?
Don't you ever say juicy bits when I'm around. Don't you ever say that again, juicy bits. Ew.
That's so funny. How would that be, you guys? What if you were single? Would you be out date? When would you go date? What would that look like?
I think I don't think I'd be dating, but I guess if I found somebody that I had like just started to be attracted to, I started being drawn to, because I think that it's really hard. I mean, I'm an extrovert already, but if I didn't have an intimate partner at home, that would be a whole nother level of, I think, loneliness and stuff that would affect my mental health in a different way. So I think I'd want to find like a buddy. Like, I feel like, what was it? Was it Sweden? And then like one other place that was saying that you should find a sex buddy.
I love my Swedish friends.
Yeah, they're like, find a sex, but it was like the PM that was like, the prime minister was recommending that you find a sex buddy.
There you go.
Find somebody that you can have regular sex with, and not create extra COVID vectors.
I'd be working on myself. That's what I'd be doing. I was single. I'd be working on myself in all matters, in all manners, and I would come out of COVID like rock star. But I would not be.
But how long can we maintain that, though? That's the other thing that's been coming up for me. It's interesting because we talk about all these things at different points. Like tomorrow, nah. 3 months, maybe. I don't know. If I have to, in a year, right? I actually, as COVID paranoid as I am, I've started thinking in like the last couple of weeks, I was like, this is not for me. It's not sustainable, this level of hypervigilance for a year, which is, I don't think that there's going to be a proven, fully tested vaccine before like a year or so or more, right? Or treatments, which is the other thing. If you have like a good treatment that works, that's the other thing, because if you get it, then you know that it's treatable, right? But I can't maintain this level of like heightened everything for this amount of time, and like having no contact with friends and stuff, or actually especially my family. Mm-hmm. That for me, my family is really huge thing and a big part of our lives, and I don't see being this hyper vigilant and missing our holiday together because it's too important to me. But I know that there's also a danger in that, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know, but it's like, like Tatum, you're like, you just kind of are like past a point or whatever. I feel like there's going to come, and I feel like a lot of people are already doing that, which is causing numbers to go up. And I wish they wouldn't do it for so long, because there's places where most people's lives are back to normal because they were hyper vigilant for a while, but everybody did it. And then it squashed numbers and they knew how to treat, and they caught it soon enough so it didn't spread. That's not what's happening here. And I don't think it's what's happening in the UK either as much. I mean, I think you're doing better than we are in the US for sure. But I know that at some point I'm just gonna be like, I have to be able to do something else for my mental health. I have to.
I mean, I think loneliness, right? It really does affect people's, not only their mental health, but also their physical health. And they did a study and they replicated the study in several different countries. So it wasn't just this is just Americans or this is just Swedish people, but they replicated it. And so from that, kind of saying it's more of the human condition. So they can study someone's sleep and know how lonely they are. Because when we are lonely, we have micro awakenings all night long, because our primal part of the brain, right? If we were not in our tribe, we were in danger. So you wouldn't have a deep sleep because you had to be alert. So even though now we might be on our own in our own apartment and, you know, feel quite safe, our like primal part of our brain will keep waking us up. And that sustained over long periods of time is also like a contributing factor to how, you know, corrosive loneliness can be. And it's kind of weighing these things up, isn't it, with coronavirus and like, you know, what potentially could damage your health more.
What's interesting about that to me is about the idea of staying connected and still being connected. So, you know, I remember being in New York at one time, and it was, you know, it was had like 2 hours of daylight or whatever, and I was living by myself, and my best friend was the guy at the bodega that would get me my light and sweet coffee. So there had been a couple days where I was inside, and I had not had any real like human connection, and I definitely had not had anyone hug me or touch me. And I remember just being a mess, and my friend Stacey Ann was like, do you know what I think your problem is? I think you actually need a hug. She's like, I think you need like physical touch. And she hugged me, and I just wept, because I think as a person and as people, we're not meant to go long periods of time without like human connection and touch and feeling. So I can see how that could absolutely contribute to like that feeling of loneliness, and how that could weather on your spirit and your body and your mental and all of that. So I don't know. I think there might be like some give and take, and I don't know what that answer is, but I do think there's something to that.
Which, I mean, like, when do you think you guys would be happy to hug?
I'm willing to hug now as long as we're in masks and do it quickly, because one, it's harder to transmit that way, and we're not touching hands. It's actually more like shaking hands is actually more of a problem than a hug, because
gross.
It's people touch all over everything, but when you're doing a hug, usually it's over the shoulder. You're not even in each other's direct profile of like the COVID things, and you're not touching stuff like they are not touching their back with their hands after they rub their nose, you know?
Yeah.
What about you guys?
I mean, I hug my girlfriend.
Yes, you've been quarantining together though.
Yeah.
I mean, for the most part, I would say I also need to know how they've been doing things, like how many vectors, like how, like that kind of thing. How careful have they been being?
Yeah. Nikki,
I hug when, and especially not everybody, but I definitely hug the people that are closest to me. At this point, I was very, very, very conservative at the beginning. And in this place and time, I am amongst my family, hugging and loving them.
Yeah.
Hugging and loving them and kissing them and all the things that feel good, you know? Mm-hmm. But not just randoms. I'm not just hugging randoms. I'm not just a hugging tree.
What about you, T?
I haven't, apart from my sister, the half who I'm living with. But I miss it. Like that's really, really hard for me. And there is that thing when I see my friends of just like, oh, it feels weird. And it feels weird for the first little bit of even, kind of saying hi to someone, you know, and you're staying apart, and it feels all wrong. Like everything out of whack and everything. But I heard the epidemiologists that were coming up with all these different answering these questions. One of them said, well, honestly, like, I'm just really glad that this needless exchange of pathogens is gone. And I was like, oh, like just calling a hug as a needless exchange of pathogens.
It's actually vital for one's health.
But you know what they do for a living, so you know their whole mindset is just
they're disassociated with the other complementing factor that really matters. Like
imagining, instead of like, hi, my name is sticker, it was like, hi, I'm into needless exchange of pathogens, or no, no needless exchanges, thank you.
Wow. Yeah. It's actually vital for everyone's health to have physical touch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think their thing is probably not physical touch with strangers or physical touch with certain people, because they're thinking about all the bugs that could be passed during those exchanges. But I don't know. My family, I had 2 family members that were supposed to come down to visit this weekend that ultimately decided not to come because they had been in the protest and they hadn't had enough time to really quarantine. And they were concerned that they got a COVID test, which I'm assuming, they haven't told me the results, but I think if it would have been positive, one of them would have let me know. But they decided to not come in any case, just to be very safe.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we got a lot of things happening in the world. Not just the pandemic, but the protests and all the multitude of things. And I mean, just to address the sleep thing, to be honest, insomnia is at an all-time high. And to be fair, people are concerned about their livelihood, and that's realistic. So there's a multitude of reasons, and actually the heart sends more messages to the mind than the mind does to the body. And so there's a multitude of factors that are addressing why people are not sleeping, right? And then in order to stay connected, of course, we've addressed being on the screen to try to pass the time or find ways to self-soothe, but then we know that keeps the brain awake, right? So the true answer is everybody's doing the best they can, but we gotta find ways that work for us to get the sleep that we need. And I highly suggest the basics: sleep, food, water, alone time, a little bit of movement. You know what I mean? Just like basics, just like follow the basics one day at a time and find a way because sleep is very important for everyone.
I've had trouble sleeping some of the time during this, or waking up in the middle of the night, or like really weird dreams that are super vivid that don't completely make sense to me. Some of them have people in them that I don't recognize at all, but it's super vivid, or like they're talking to me about it. I'm like, what the fuck is this? What is happening?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What about you guys?
How's your sleep been?
Good, T.
Oh, I was going to say, go ahead, Glo.
I've been up and down with sleep. It really depends on where we are in the process of all of this. I mean, lately I moved into a new place. And so with that, I was like not sleeping well, and I was sleeping on a sofa and just trying to adjust. And I finally got myself to like sleep in my bedroom by myself. I mean, I had like irrational things, like I have alcohol spray to spray people if they come in and a knife by my bed. It was just like, crazy.
Yeah.
But I finally got a panic button, and now I'm able to sleep. So, and I had a great dream last night where I was hanging out with Kourtney and Kim Kardashian. So now I'm finally like in sleep, having fun, good, happy dreams. We were eating those big salads, and yeah, so now I'm back.
In a restaurant or in their house?
You were eating big salads together?
Yeah. They like to have big salads. We were at Chris's house in the dream. And it didn't seem very COVID because we were close together. But I love to sleep. You know this about me, Dee. Like I'm into sleeping. And so
You're
when
you're even a napper, not even a nighttime.
I really like Libra, so love to sleep. So when I'm not sleeping, nothing's right. So it's like one of the things that I really prioritize is figuring out what I need to do to get good sleep. So I've been sleeping now. I have my panic button. I'm good. I'm sleeping.
Who does the panic button go to when you press it?
Like the police, which who knows. I mean, it could go. Like it alerts. The same people for my alarm would go off, but it's really just like a peace of mind thing. Dee, by the way, you are on the call sheet, so right. So if anything should happen, so that's what I did. But I knew I needed to do something to make sure that because I knew I couldn't tolerate not being able to sleep for a long time, and not being able to do that because it's too important to me.
I haven't slept properly in 9 years, so I can probably name on one hand like how many like nights sleep that I've had that were like really good in that amount of time. Having your ovaries removed and not being able to have hormone replacement is a pretty brutal form of menopause. So I get lots of interruptions all throughout the night, like hot sweats and then cold chills. So, I mean, I flail. I don't know how Lauren gets any sleep, because I can like almost stay asleep and like take off all my clothes, put them on. Like I have to have like 3 or 4 layers of sheets and duvets and comforters for all the different stages of temperature. And I can almost, almost do it in my sleep. But yeah, so sleep is so important, and I so miss it.
I've started taking CBD oil to help regulate the extra anxiety stuff, which I have to say, when I remember to consistently take it, I do sleep better. I didn't do it at the beginning of all this, but when I started, I was like, oh, I noticed that if I was taking it consistently for a few days, I'd be like, oh, I got a really, like a solidly good night sleep, the night before, after I've taken it. So I was like, okay, but sometimes I just don't always remember it because it wasn't a part of my habits before all this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Nikki?
Right now I'm sleeping. I went through some waves too. It's like my mom and trying to help her, and my dad, and they're in the hospital, and different, all these just things that are factors that are real. And then I was doing the soul session show that was demanding actually a lot of more than what was asked for at the beginning, and during how we're all feeling, putting on doing something for somebody else started to feel like there was just a lot going on. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, you know what, okay, I need to stop all of this and I need to get back to what I need to do. And I just started to weed out things and simplify. And I know there's certain triggers for me that will keep me up, whether it's, sugar late or caffeine or certain things, right? So I was just like, no. And even just Layla loves her sleep. She loves her sleep. She sleeps like a dream. She looks like an angel when she's sleeping because she just looks like a dream.
That's what I hear.
She's in a deep, beautiful slumber. And I just think, you look so lovely.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm that flopping fish, right? But lately I've been sleeping really well. I know that she likes to stay up later than I do. So if I need to go to bed earlier, mm-hmm. and I need no screen time and I need quiet time. I mean, I got all my own special needs that I know. And so as long as I nurture those, like Lucy and I go to bed at the same time.
Yeah.
And we're happy together.
Yeah.
We had a question of the week this week, didn't we, you guys?
Oh yeah, we did have a question of the week.
We're missing our lovely Bethany this week. She's out gallivanting, and she's usually the one who keeps us on track around our question of the week, because it's usually a surprise, but she passed it on to us this week.
Yes, so where is that question of the week?
Where she sent it to us, I'm trying to.
Yeah. Oh, actually, I remember what it was.
Do you?
Yeah, I do. But feel free if you want to pull it up. But I do remember what it was.
Okay, go ahead, Nick.
Go ahead.
So she said the question of the week was, my girlfriend is basically not comfortable with having my best friend around all the time. She says we feel like a throuple, and she wants to know, and it's her new girlfriend, and her new girlfriend is not comfortable with it. And so she wants to know what she should do or tell her girlfriend, because she doesn't want her best friend around all the time.
Did the person who asked the question say how long they've been dating?
No, she said my new girlfriend.
Okay.
Listen. She did say the best straight and single. She said the best friend was straight and single.
Yes, she did. Thank you, Tina.
Oh.
So this reminds me of Oprah, Gail, and Stedman. Look, if you can't get on board with, Oprah and Gail and be the Stedman, then I don't know what to tell you. So the girlfriend just gotta understand that, this is what it is. It's like we come together, because if this person has been there and been their best friend for all that time, you just better get in where you fit in. That's how I feel about it.
That's how I feel too. I was like, y'all motherfuckers have come and gone. My best friend has been here for me for a very long time. So you deal, because that's family to me. And if you can't deal with my family, then then I may not be the person for you.
Yeah, if it works for Oprah, it works for me. What do you think, Tatum?
Yeah, I think it's a sign of more problems to come. And on either way, right? So if there's absolutely no electricity between her and the friend, and there's no vibe, there's nothing, then the partner's not just feeling a bit paranoid and wants their feelings validated, but wants to get rid. Like that's a tactic, you know, that's going to come up in different places. And if there is a little vibe, then that's not being acknowledged by that person, and you know, then that would need to be sorted out. But generally, yeah, like your friends are kind of a package deal.
Yeah, sometimes that's abusive, like what you're talking about, Tatum, about getting rid of people. Abusers often do that to isolate people, which that may not be the case here, but that often is like a beginning sign of like a red flag when somebody's trying to get rid of your friendship circle. It's not a good idea.
Yeah. Nikki?
So, right, I agree with you. And I have to say, just to play from another angle, fair enough, we haven't seen, like, right, it does say new girlfriend. We don't really know the dynamics of the best friend. And I agree with you, because I've had my best friend since I was 11, and we are like sisters. So the fact that if somebody, like, we can only take that from an inner space, right? A personal space. If I started dating somebody new and they were tripping on my best friend who's totally straight, I would be like, this is interesting. I'd want to know why. I'd still want to like understand what was happening or what they thought they saw. But because I knew there was no threat, I wouldn't be able to carry this new dating person around very long, knowing that I feel really good about who I am and how I am and how I handle my relationships, and let alone, so that does seem like it's a passerby. I'm gonna date you for a hot minute and then you might just be out of the picture.
Well, I mean, I wonder, something in what you said, Nikki, made me think, I wonder if they're not getting any alone time, which I could see somebody having a concern about not having any date nights or like having any alone time. But that seems like, I would be surprised if that's what's actually happening. But if literally you never go on dates anymore and this person's always with you on the dates, that's a different conversation, because that's not getting rid of the best friend. That's just saying, I want alone time. But it's like, that's, to me, that wouldn't be somebody saying, I feel like we're a throuple because we're doing that. That would be like, can we get some date nights on our own, you know, more often? You know what I mean? So that we just...
I totally agree.
Go ahead, what Tatum?
I've so often been that extra person. That's been my role for many years, living with my best friend, and you know, who she was with. Like, I was that like third wheel that came to everything. So on behalf of that person, I feel like I need to.
There's some people who have a thing too, that they think that the single friend is trying to cause problems. Do you remember, me and Glo, when we were in college, there was a time where several of the other friends were dating somebody and I was the single one, and I remember like the guys having this conversation about like, don't let her ruin your relationship. She's up here telling you advice. And I was looking like, I ain't the one causing the problem in y'all's relationships. Y'all's fucking that up on your own. I ain't trying to get nobody to be single with me. You know what I'm saying? But I think people sometimes have that idea, this fear that the single friend is trying to like bring you back over into the single side instead of supporting your relationship. But anybody who's been my best friend for a long time, if it's a healthy relationship, they support it. Now, if they think it's unhealthy, that's a different thing. But even then, they don't usually try and like push me to get out of it. They try and support me so that I feel okay. You know?
I have to say, going into a new relationship, we've all gone into a new relationship. So to be fair, everybody's coming from a different normal and background and what they're comfortable with. So I think there could be some wiggle room to have some communication and get on the same page and have some trust. But it sounds like these are some beginning like hiccups that could just be natural part of their process.
Yeah. Well, hope they figure it out.
Yeah.
Good luck with that.
I trust people that don't have friends. I don't trust people that don't have long-term friendships.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So you ought to be glad that person has a best friend and has a long-term friendship, because that's saying something about them. Because if they don't, there's something wrong. So you could look at it like that.
That's a very good point, Glo.
All right.
The long-term relationships.
Yeah.
Long-term relationships. So what are our takeaways, y'all?
get on the same page with the COVID comfort zone between whomever you'd like to connect with.
Yeah.
You know, but I do think love and affection is super important for everybody.
Yeah, my takeaway is that Tatum piece about the sleep, and it just reiterates how important my sleep is and why I need to continue to nap and get rest.
I think I have a couple new business ideas for different designer hazmat suits. One for travel, one for sex, one for I don't know. I feel like it's a whole new business that is going to become a thing, y'all. I really do. And then what if they're in different patterns? You know what I'm saying?
I think
what if
to
you can
all
reach the naughty
amongst the chaos. Cheers to all the opportunity amongst the chaos. And
yeah.
the community we
Tatum, what was your takeaway? Tatum, did you say
Germs. Tubes of germs everywhere.
And embracing them.
On the tube here, so like I don't even have to wait to get on a plane. So yes, to shared neuroticism and needless exchanges of pathogens.
There we go. Needless exchanges of pathogens. Cheers.
Needless exchanges of pathogens are my favorite.
Love, 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 love.
Cheers.
Cheers.